Hello, beautiful people. It's your girl, Miss Eileen, and today I want to talk to you about Twitter Blue. And Twitter is one of my favorite social media platforms, and I am really excited and happy that they introduced Twitter Blue. So, for those of you who haven't heard of Twitter Blue, it is a subscription from Twitter that gives you access to some perks. And so we're going to go over some of those perks today. As it stands right now, I'm sure they're going to be adding additional perks in the months and weeks to come. So let's start off with what you can access from your desktop. So I've already signed up for Twitter Blue. And hang on just one moment. Let me get the picture in picture out of the way. It's not sharing correct screen, but that's okay. All right, so let's just go over some of the features here. You've got the ability to undo tweets. So select which types of tweets you want to undo before they're public, plus how long your undo period is. So, for example, you can undo original tweets or replies. You have the option for 5 seconds, 10, 20, 30, 60. I do believe that 20 is the default. So, you definitely want to come in here and tweak that as needed. Now, I want to give you my little experience with using this so far. Okay. Let's make sure I have the comments window open. So if you have comments or questions, go ahead and share those. So for me, I had to get used to the idea of it. I have this time period. I've shared this tweet, but it actually didn't go out yet. I've got this delay on that tweet. And so I have to get used to that. Or I could choose just not to even use the undo tweet. Honestly, I know a lot of people like or have requested for years to have the edit tweet so they can fix typos in their tweets. It's not a big deal for me. There has been times when I've had typos in tweets. I flubbed it off or I delete the tweet. But with this undo feature, it gives you just that extra chance to just look over and make sure you don't have any typos. Maybe you forgot to tag or at mention someone. That's something that I think would be more valuable than anything else. And I see I have a few early birds here with me this morning, like Simply Ops. Hello, hello. And Dr. Geneva speaks morning to you as well. So if you have questions about Twitter Blue, go ahead and throw those up in the chat. And also, my buddy Doug Huson, it's not morning for him, but good morning, Doug. All right, so let's go back to some more of the benefits of Twitter Blue. And let's see if I can get things lined up a little bit better. And like I said, we're just covering what's on the desktop because you have different options from desktop to the phone. We're going to move to the phone in a minute because you get more on the phone. All right, so let's go back here. You also have one of my favorite features is the access to the labs. So you can pin conversations in your DM. That may be important for you depending upon what you got going on in your DMs. But for me, the ability to upload longer videos from desktop, not from your phone, right now, up to 10 minutes long. So I did one of these longer uploads yesterday. And what I did was, you don't recreate the wheel, right? I repurposed some existing content that I had, and I didn't want it to be the full 10 minutes though, because your basic upload for a Twitter video is 2 minutes and 20 seconds. All right. So people who are watching videos on Twitter, they may be used to that length. Not sure how many people actually watch the full videos on Twitter. It's not like we get those kinds of analytics like we do on YouTube, where we know watch time and all of that. So you're just hoping that people will watch at least the first minute of your video. So I didn't want to do the whole full 10 minutes initially, because this is so new and people aren't used to it yet. But as people get used to it, the videos can be longer, and then also you experiment with what works for you and your Twitter followers, and because it all depends upon what kind of account you have and who it is that you're talking to. So my video was 3 minutes and 20 seconds, and I did get some engagement there on that video. So I think that's great, considering, like I said, this is a new thing because this just rolled out in the US. It actually, Twitter Blue was available to folks in Canada and in another country. I'm not sure which one it was, but it just rolled out in the US 2 or 3 days ago. So this is for my audience, which is primarily in the United States and in English speaking countries, is kind of new. So as time goes by, we'll experiment with the frequency of uploading those videos. And like Twitter says, this is a labs feature, which means eventually they're going to roll it out to everyone. Hopefully, I guess, if all goes well. Okay, so let's just go back and see what's next. All right, so we've got the labs feature and ad-free articles. Oh my goodness, I think this is amazing, and I'll tell you why. Because there's a list of publishers that you can see their content ad-free. And honestly, I don't go to any of these sites on this list because of the ads. Because I'm ads averse. Me and ads don't get along. So I really look forward to the opportunity of like going through the Vox website, Recode. Some of these are just not in my wheelhouse, but BuzzFeed, oh my goodness, I would never dream of going to that website because of all the ads, but going to an ad-free experience. And I've always spent some time over on The Verge yesterday, and honestly, it's the first time that I visited The Verge because of the ads. So I spent about a good 20 minutes on The Verge website yesterday going through some articles and catching up on some of the things that I hear other people saying. I saw it on The Verge, and I'm like, good for you. So this is really cool. So let me just show you some more of the things that you have. Even for me in my area, I'm not sure how far it is down the list, but local newspaper is the Enquirer. It looks like this list might be in alphabetical order. I'm not sure. But the Philly Enquirer, which is another site that I don't frequent because of the ads, they are also on this list. So you probably have some local papers from your area that have Twitter accounts that you can now follow without fear of ads. And Obs likes that I'm ads adverse. She's ads adverse too. Thank you, Obs. All right, so let's go back and see what else we have here. And for those of you who have subscriptions, you can manage your subscription. So, in other words, the subscription that I'm referring to here is people can actually give me tips on Twitter. And so I could here manage my subscription details. I'm sorry, that's not what this is. This is the subscription to Twitter Blue. This is where you can manage your subscription and or cancel your subscription. So here's the plan. $2.99. It's gonna add. They're gonna add tax on it, right? If you do it on your phone, if you have an iPhone, you do it on your phone. I can tell you there's going to be a special Apple tax. It comes to $3.23. And notice I use air quotes when I say Apple tax. I don't want anybody yelling at me. But, and here is my first tip for those of you who have multiple Twitter accounts and you try to add your second or third Twitter account to Twitter Blue on your phone, it's going to tell you can't do it. You already have it. So the workaround is to go to your desktop and log in to that other Twitter account. And then you can use different payment sources. You don't have to use Apple Pay. I'm speaking from an iPhone user. You don't have to use Apple Pay. You can use a different credit card and pay, and then you can have it on multiple accounts. And so, speaking of the phone, I told you about one of the limitations. If it only, and that's only for people that have multiple Twitter accounts, and you really want Twitter Blue on more than one, myself included. Okay, and that's how I know how to do this because I actually did it. Because I thought if I'm going to have it on this my main account, I'm just going to want it on the other account, and I'm going to show you why. When it comes to your mobile device, one of the main perks that I love is the navigation. You're able to change up your navigation. So we're going to get to it, but there's some more. First, I'm just going to switch over now to the iPhone and show you the list of perks that gets longer. Now, most folks are probably using their phones anyway to navigate Twitter, but I know not everybody does. That's why I started with desktop. So here's, notice how the list is a lot longer here when you're on your phone. So because, and Simply Obs says, I had no idea. Thanks. You're welcome, my dear. That's what I'm here for. This is new. I like to bring the new things to my peeps so that they'll know what's going on when they hear Twitter Blue. They won't be saying, what in the world is that? So at least you know what it is, even if you're not an avid Twitter user like myself. Honestly, here, here, here's here's a plug. Here's a plug. If you are a podcaster or a live streamer or you have a YouTube channel, you absolutely should be using Twitter. You should be using Twitter. And what's the beauty of Twitter is you can use it to promote, you can use it to connect with people, like minded people. You can use it to catch up on the news, but you also can use it now that they have the social audio piece, which kind of combines live streaming and podcasting. It appeals to all my peeps because you guys are my peeps, my live streamers and my podcasters, right? It combines because it's really live audio. That's what it is. So, Twitter Spaces, we'll talk about that in another video, unless you have questions. So, Twitter Spaces is something that you should definitely check out. So, that if that was not a reason, if you didn't have a reason before to join Twitter, that is the reason that you should join now. Now is the time, not to mention all the other amazing, amazing features that they're rolling out. It had been a while before they released anything new, but now they're just like, I guess you could say they're on a tirade. New stuff coming all the time. Ops says, I need to get back in. It keeps pulling me back in. Come on, back in. The water's fine here. So here we go. Let's talk about the things that you can do when you're on your phone with Twitter Blue. So first, you'll see undo tweet. We already talked about that, so I'm not going to go into it. You could do that on desktop, and you can have different settings on your phone than you do on desktop as far as the length of time before that undo kicks in. Didn't know. You say a little more about Twitter Spaces. Okay. All right. I will say a little bit more about Twitter Spaces as soon as I get done with this, Dr. Geneva. Thanks for asking. All right. So hang in there. All right. So we talked about the undo tweet feature. Next is the reader. Choose the text size you prefer when reading threads. And so when someone threads a Twitter conversation, that means they keep replying to a specific tweet. And sometimes you may find it hard to follow if you're on your phone. You can change the size of the text. And then, of course, for those of you who have really perfectly good vision because you're like 22, then you can just keep it small. Someone like me who has a few years under her belt will make it large. All right, so next is the theme. I can choose the theme colors of how Twitter appears. Now, this is only for me. This is only for me. It doesn't impact how anybody sees my tweets or any of that. It's just the way you see Twitter when you're navigating. Okay, so right now I have that on purple, but of course you see there I could use blue, yellow, red, purple, orange, or green. And I don't know if they're going to add more colors, but sounds like something they may do one day. All right, the app icon. So the way that icon looks when you open up your phone, it doesn't have to be the blue Twitter bird. It could be pink, purple, fuchsia. Somebody the other day couldn't figure out what that color was. They were calling it red. That's fuchsia. This one right here is fuchsia. See, you have changed the icon for Twitter. Now, I'm not going to go back to my home screen on my phone because you would definitely get lost. I don't want you to do that. But now I've changed it to fuchsia. So let's go back through the colors. Blue is the default, then a pink, like a pale pink, purple, fuchsia, green, orange, black with some sort of design in it. And then there's one that is multicolored that has purple and blue and burgundies. And then there's seasonal icons. So you've got ones with leaves in the background, and I think they are so, so cool. Oh, girl, I am just discovering I can't see small text anymore. Welcome to my 40s. Hello, Obs, real quick. Fun fact about Eileen. On my 40th birthday, no exaggeration, not the day before, not the day after, I picked up a book or a paper, whatever it was I was reading at the time, and realized I could not see it. Had to go out and get some readers, as if my body knew. You're 40 now, so all that 2020 vision, psh, gone. All right, let's get back on task. So you can change the app icons. This is just a fun little perk. And I'm sure they'll be rolling out different seasonal ones as time goes on. And they may even add additional colors. But it's just a fun thing that will really impact you as you're using Twitter on your phone. And I just realized I need to put my phone over this way so it looks a little bit more natural. Okay. So, next, custom navigation. This was the part that got me stuck and said, oh, I better change one of my other accounts. So, what do they mean by custom navigation? This is super important. Those little buttons down at the bottom. So, right now I have home. Let's look at the bottom row. Okay. I have home, search, the Twitter spaces. I'm in a Twitter community. Whole nother thing that we'll talk about in a different live stream. but there's the Twitter community. Then there is the notification bell that gives you notifications when somebody's mentioned you and things like that. And then the little envelope is the DMs. But I can change them. I can change them. And Obs is laughing at me about my 40th birthday story. And by the way, 40s were the bomb. And you know, when you're 20, you think 40 is old. But when you're 20, you don't know nothing. When you get to your 40s, you know it and you know how to have fun. Because the 30s, you kind of spent doing all the partying and stuff. And then by the time you're 40, you're like, I don't even need to party. But if I do, I know exactly how it works. All right. Let's get back to Twitter. Twitter Blue, Twitter Blue. So I can switch out these icons. For example, when I'm on my phone, I rarely search for things. So I probably would remove this Explore icon and replace that with something like Profile. Because I am always going to my profile. I don't know why they don't have that at the bottom, but it doesn't matter because now that I have Twitter Blue, I can put that on the bottom. And also with bookmarks, that's another thing. And offset, oh, we can talk about I need a Primsmed readers. Okay, Prismed readers. Yes, I started off with two 200 readers and then I graduated to 250 and I actually did have cataract surgery, so actually after 250 I went to prescription glasses for a while. And I still have my prescription glasses, but I had to get cataract surgery this year as a matter of fact. So back on back on task here. So you can change these navigations, and this is where I got confused earlier when I was talking about monetization. Monetization. So only 6 items can be selected, so I have to unselect something. So let me unselect communities. Even though I probably will put that back, but just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to select monetization. Now that monetization is, as I was talking about earlier, where people can give me tips on Twitter. Okay, so I could go to that tab, and I don't think that I would be going there that frequently, but I have the option to do that. And my Twitter lists, oh my goodness, that's another one that I often like to go through. And this is another tip for you for using Twitter. Creating Twitter lists is a great way to make sure, okay, today when I go on Twitter, I only want to read the news. So that's when you would set up your Twitter list and you would have all of your news. Let's just say you wanted to just check on the local news. Then you would have your ABC affiliate, your NBC, your Fox, or whatever kind of news. I've just used that as an example for a Twitter list. For me, I have Twitter lists of live streamers. I have Twitter lists of podcasters. And so whenever I just want to find out what's going on with podcasting, I can go to my podcasting list. Let's just say there was a big something happened in podcasting. I want to see all what the podcasters have to say about it. All right. Sorry, don't want to distract. Weird for double vision. Oh, okay, no problem, Oz. I'm so glad and grateful that you're here. And if you have that kind of stuff, we can definitely talk about it. Oh goodness, and I hope it goes away or gets better, dear. All right, so the navigation is another big, for me, it's a big thing. And that's one reason why I wanted to make sure that my second Twitter account, which is Anchor Show, by the way, that's where I really connect with the podcasting community. I didn't want to get confused going back and forth between those two primary accounts. I have other Twitter accounts as well, but at least those two. And like I said, it's $3.23 when you're on your iPhone, and it's $3.19, I think, from desktop. I don't know what the extra Apple tax is, but you can cancel it at any time. So even if you try it for a month, it supports Twitter. Oh my goodness. For me, I've been using Twitter since 2009, and I'm perfectly fine with supporting them and helping them with any tips that they want as far as improving this product and so forth. So, anyway, let's move on because I'm a Twitter fan. So, and I want you to be one too. All right, so the custom navigation. And so labs, we already talked about the labs, and then the ad free articles once again. So I do want to show you what that looks like on, I will go to Vox. And I think this may be a good example. Okay, good. So here you see there's that article on the Vox Twitter account. And right at the bottom, underneath the caption, you see that in the blue, it says ad free with Twitter Blue. So when I click that on, it knows that I came from Twitter now and I'm not seeing ads. Well, of course, they're going to ask you to sign up for their email list. I don't think you can get rid of that. Oh, see, now that didn't work. I was not supposed to see that. So I'm going to go back. That was not a good example, Vox. Y'all better get it together. Let's try Recode. All right. I should have went to The Verge because I know it works on The Verge because I did it yesterday. All right, so I think that was just a little glitch. All right, let's go to The Verge. And oh yeah, for when I saw it on The Verge, I thought, how come I don't see that little thing about ad free? But then when I click through, and it has that little Twitter icon down at the bottom. So I don't know if that means it recognizes that I'm coming from Twitter Blue. Obviously, that's what it means because you notice I didn't see any ads here on The Verge. So I'm not sure about that glitch from Vox. That's okay though. You know, early days, early days. So let's go back. So, in a sense, they really kind of want you to follow those accounts. But for me, I'm still cautious because guess what? What if I decide I don't want Twitter Blue or I want to cancel it? Then I'm still following all those accounts. I can easily navigate to it just from here, or I actually make myself a little list and I can make a Twitter list when you can add people to Twitter lists without following them, or shall I say you can add accounts. You can add all your Vox and your Verge and all the other ones that, or and I could do Philly Inquirer, all the other ones that are ad free. I can add them to a list and I could just go to my list and say news, and then I could scroll through that way. I don't have to follow these accounts if I don't want to. And then that way, like I said, if I ever change my mind, I'm not following them. I don't have to sit there and unfollow them. If anything, I could just delete the Twitter list. So there's all kinds of tips and, ways that you can navigate around in Twitter. And so I think the bookmarks is the next thing that I want to talk about, but I don't see it listed here. But I'm just going to tell you about the bookmarks. Oh, but here you go. Explore new features, get news without the noise, customize your Twitter experience. See, it says bookmark folders. Okay, so organize your bookmarks into folders and avoid endless scrolling. Really, really cool. Okay, and so, yep, we talked about everything else there. And so now let's talk about Twitter Spaces because we had that question from Dr. Graves. I hope you're still here. Give me a shout out and let me know. Uh, Doug, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't miss you made that comment earlier. We got Twitter Blue as well. Yay, Doug. I'm sorry, not I didn't mean to say Dr. Graves. I'm not Dr. Geneva. I hope you're still hanging in there. And so let's just talk about Twitter Spaces. Twitter Spaces works on mobile. All right. And remember, I changed my icons around. So Here we go. When you see that little area where you're seeing it's like a little matrix inside of the purple or blue. That's where Twitter Spaces lives. And see, Twitter Spaces, these are live conversations that are going on right now. Live conversations that are going on right now. And you can see that there's uh, this one is led by Esther. We're talking about social charity NFTs. Show me the charity. And she's got 40 people listening. And we can listen in. Of course, we're not going to do that. And here's others. This is international, so from all around the world. And then this is one that I may go into because I see that Jeremiah Yang is in this one. So I know that he is someone who keeps up with technology and he's well versed in all these areas. So I would go in there, see if that conversation is one that I'm interested in. And if so, stick around. Oh, great. Dr. Geneva is still here. Good. So is audio like Clubhouse? Yes, it is just like Clubhouse, except I'll tell you how it's different. And hi, Caleb. Thank you so much for coming. I'll tell you how it's different from Clubhouse because that's important. Clubhouse has this for me, and I like Clubhouse in general, but there's this annoying feature that I don't like about Clubhouse, which is when someone opens up a room on Clubhouse, which is the equivalent is a space on Twitter, they can add all these moderators. I don't even know if there's a limit. So you would go into the space and people would be all talking over top of each other because there's like so many people there that have the mic that it almost goes out of control a lot of times. Twitter is much less liberal with giving the mic away. You have a host. You can have a co-host. You can have a host and a co-host, and you have listeners. You can have up to 10 speakers. That's your max of 10 people that could be on the mic, and then everyone else is a listener. Twitter also is allowing certain people to record their spaces. I have it rolled out on one of my accounts, not on all, but it's rolling out for everyone. But Twitter has something in spaces that Clubhouse just integrated. Clubhouse calls it links, Twitter calls it the nest. And you can have multiple links, but they're from Twitter. You can have multiple Twitter links that appear up at the top. And you know what? I'll see if any of these have it, and I'll show you an example. Okay, so let me come back on screen because I don't want to violate anybody's privacy. And so I'm just going to pop in this room and know it looks like
I'm
they don't
somebody
have
that
any
didn't
of
hit
those
on the
pinned
drop today
tweets.
other than
So
any of
that's
the
what they call
comments,
them. They have what they
but I
call
accept
pinned
that. I
tweets.
don't really, I get down,
And
whatever,
if I
but and I
didn't think that I was
say
going
some
to
things, but at the same time, I don't care. It's
blow
fun
up this live
because I think
stream, I would
we
start one
all
now.
enjoy the adrenaline rush
Let's
of
see. What the
when
heck?
we can possibly hit on the drop. There's
I
like
do
no
have
greater
the
feeling. I mean,
ability
I'm a
to
former athlete, and it reminds me of
record
the
on the
adrenaline
Anchor
rush
Show
that you
account.
used
So
to
that's
get,
what I did. I just switched over
playing a
to the
sport.
Anchor Show account. So let's see.
I
Let's see
am
how this
afraid
goes. All right,
that
there's a
they want
setting I
to
need
go
to
to a
make sure.
lottery
Okay,
system,
I
and I
have
don't
the
like that.
playthrough turned off in
I
ECAM Live,
think
so I
that we
should be
can
good to go.
almost, and
So
as a
let's get out of that room. And now you notice that there's this little purple plus icon. That's what you would use to, you can hear the audio. Oh, all right. I muted it. So how about now, Caleb? Let me know. Oh, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. It's playing in the background probably. But let me know if you can still hear that audio. All right, but it doesn't matter because I closed out that space anyway. So this purple icon is one you would use to compose a tweet. So I'm just going to tap it. right? But what you would do instead, if you're going to start a space, it's good, Eileen. It's gone now. Oh, thank you, Caleb. You're so helpful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know you meant new now, new now. Well, we're going to do something new. All right. So instead of tapping on it to create compose a tweet, you're just going to press on it and you'll see your get options here. So I can compose a tweet. I can just tweet a GIF. And I've been known to do that because I get silly sometimes. But I get my GIFs from Snapchat. Just fun fact. And people love them. Or I can go over to that icon. Now I've been pressing and holding, but now I'm using that bottom icon there. That's a space. So I could start a space. So notice that I'm just going to write demo. And you can select 3 topics. I'm just going to say business. Notice that I have there that option to record the space. So if I want to know, they give me a bunch of things of what the deal is and this and that. Okay, I can start it now or I can schedule it. Let's just look at scheduling. Just so you can see what the interface looks like. And I could say, I'm going to go and start my live space at 8 a.m. and all that good stuff. But we're not going to do that. All right. So we're going to start the space now, but I'm just going to let you know, I'm going to close it down really quickly. I just want you to see what it looks like. So I'm going to hit start now. And you see here that I am the host, and it's prompting me to get more people to join and share it with a tweet. Tweet your space. Let's get people in here. But what I want to do is, let's just go to my profile really quickly, and I just want you to show you what it's like to pin a tweet. So I'm going to go to a tweet, and then I'm going to share it. And see up at the top, it says share tweet in a demo space. So tweet shared in demo space. Now I'm going to open back that demo space, and you see up at the top there is that tweet. So that if others were in the room and we were talking about it, and then I could say, hey, check out the tweet that I just pinned up at the top where I posted something about Twitter Blue over on Buy Me a Coffee. And this wasn't planned, but yeah, I guess in a way it was planned because I've been talking about Twitter Blue ever since I got it. And so there you have it. That's how it works. So now I'm just going to, and I can change the title. This is another difference between Clubhouse. I can change the title while I'm in the middle of this space. Because just like this video started off talking about Twitter Blue, but then I changed the topic into talking about Twitter Spaces, so I could edit that and say I'm talking about Twitter Blue. Right? And whatever the name of the space is, when you end the space, that's going to be the name that's going to remain. Because remember, the space is being recorded and people can listen to the replay for 30 days. And it's always going to have this name here, Twitter Blue. All right. So we want to get rid of that because we didn't really talk about Twitter Blue. And demo for YouTube. All right. So there you have it. So no one joined, and that's okay because I'm only doing a demo and I can't talk to them in YouTube. So, but I could invite a co-host, and the co-host could also pin things up to the top, and as well as bring speakers on. And you'll see here, actually this mic is off. So even if someone came into the space right now, they wouldn't hear me. They wouldn't hear me because I have my mic off. But let me just turn it on. And I am doing a demo of Twitter Spaces. in a live stream over on my YouTube channel. And that's Eileen.link/YouTube. So now that's the only thing that's going to come up in the recording. So what I'm going to do is first I'll put your comment up. And your comment is, thanks, could you do your live stream you're doing now? Could you do your live stream you're doing now? I'm not exactly sure what you mean. If I had prepared this ahead of time, I could be using Twitter Spaces and actually have a space going, because I do have a space going. It's just that nobody else is here because I didn't tell anybody I was doing a space. Plus, look at the title of this. There's nothing there enticing anyone to come in. So, there's a lot of factors here involved. But yes, I can be multicasting in a sense. I could be live on YouTube. I can be live in the Twitter space. Yeah, I can definitely do it while I'm streaming. I don't know that it would be the greatest experience for everybody, including me, because I'd be going a little crazy. But, you have to keep practicing it. And then, like I said, if I had a co host, then the co host could be bringing people up on the stage and all this. And, oh, thank you so very much for the super chat. You're awesome, Dr. Geneva. Thank you. It's a fan character wearing a heart-shaped sunglasses. Whoop, whoop. Actually, it's a super sticker. Yay. Thank you, dear. I appreciate you so very much. So, yeah, absolutely Twitter Spaces. So I'm going to end the space now. And eventually, oh, see, it says tap to edit recording. So this is my first time actually doing a recorded space. And yes, thanks. That's what I was asking. Okay, great. And Ob said, talking about multitasking, multi-streaming. Yes. Yes. And so this is my first time actually doing a recorded Twitter space. So now I see I could tap to edit my recording. I can edit the start time, I can edit the space name, or I could delete the recording. Isn't that cool? So remember, I didn't turn my mic on until the very end. So that's what I would do. I would edit the start time. Oh, and I do see now that I could edit that space name. Now, if I hadn't recorded it, I would not be able to edit it after the fact. So that's another advantage of recording. And one more thing to remind you is that that recording will live on my profile. Uh, it's not going to be at the top of my profile. It'll just be in my Twitter feed. Now I could pin it, because in Twitter you can pin tweets to the very top of your profile, right? So if there was a lively conversation, or even this video when I share it out, right? I can pin that up to the top. And so it'll be there for 30 days. People can still listen to it. Now, when they say 30 days, I'm not sure exactly if, like, what if it was in the month of February? Is it 28 days? What if it's in the month of January? Is it 31 days? I'm not sure about that, because this just rolled out. It hasn't even been out for 30 days yet. So, but what you would do is you would make sure that you would keep it. And so let's see what happens when I do that here. Or I can share it. I can DM it, share as a tweet, copy that link, and share via. So I could share it out over to, all of my other places, right? That I have on my share sheet. And you can download them too. I don't see that option right here, but I do know that you can download it. And, with folks like us who have Ecamm, it's never a problem to download anyway, because we could always just get it from recording in Ecamm. All right. I am so glad that you guys took the time to spend some time with me today to find out about Twitter Blue. Let's go back to reset everything here. And we're going to go back to my main account, which is Eileen, ILEANE. And we're going to go into Twitter Blue. So in order to get to Twitter Blue, you see what I did there? I was on Twitter. Let me just go to the home. Actually, I'm going to go to my profile. I thought I changed the icon, but obviously I didn't. So I'm on my profile, right? And you see here what I have is that longer video that I uploaded yesterday. Remember I told you about that? It's one of the things in the Twitter Blue Labs. Okay, so from here, I am going to, I had to tap on my profile, and now that Twitter Blue is up at the top here. And then here's the bookmarks that I've made. And if I want to now, I can organize these bookmarks. And I don't see how I have that option to do that, but I'll take a look at that later and see if there's another video needed for it. But anyway, here we go. And it shows you that it's active. And here's all the options that I have. Okay, so this is, for me, is really a cool feature. I'm not going to say it's a game changer. It's not a change in the game for me, but it does make it more convenient. It makes me feel special because I've been using Twitter for so long and because I am such an advocate for Twitter. So having little things like changing the theme color and changing the app icon, just little added perks just to say, hey, my Twitter icon is, is black or it's fuchsia. I think these are really cool features to add. But, one of my favorites is the ability to upload videos, and I will longer videos, I'm sorry, the ability to upload longer videos. And I will be testing that to see how folks react to it and if I get more traction. And, for me, someone said it sounds like a lot of work to upload a longer video. And I'm like, I've got hundreds of videos. So it's not a lot of work for me, but honestly, all this stuff, social media, you're managing your content, building an audience, all that stuff. Yeah, it's work. It is work, and it's it's better though when you're actually having fun while you're doing the work. I like Twitter. I think it's fun. It's fast. I love that I can go on here and find out what's trending and all that. And I encourage you to give it a try and you use Twitter lists if you're seeing a lot of things in your feed that are like, oh, why was I following that person anyway? Just like on Facebook or anywhere else, you can curate with the Twitter lists because you could go on here and just go right to your Twitter list and never see any of the other stuff and worry about unfollowing and you know, all that stuff. And plus, there's so many tools that integrate with Twitter as far as posting. Now, Instagram has a connection where you can see your images. So if you post an image on Instagram, you can send it directly to Twitter. And now that image preview will show up. For years, you wouldn't see the image preview, but they just made this change last week that now, so even if you're using Instagram, just connect your Twitter account, and then whenever you share something on Instagram, it will go to Twitter. You just turn that option on. So I think this is great, and I love to hear from you. If you're watching this as the replay, go ahead and leave your questions in the comment section. And you're going to see other videos come up on screen here that YouTube thinks that you will like. And so for that, with that said, stay beautiful, and I'll see you in the next video.